Hi, welcome to another installment of Skolaris tutorials. My name is Martin, I'm with Skolaris. Today I want to show you how to influence lesson placement within the week. But first, I found out I don't really like the colors of my subjects. So I'm just gonna quickly show you how to change all the colors at once. So just select all the subjects and assign random colors, and hopefully I like these much more. So I'm gonna save this, and also for the purpose of today's demo we'll be adding some more class groups to make it more realistic. I'll also add year groups because we're gonna have 2 year groups now. So the first is gonna be year 1, and I got a new badge. Year 2 is going to be the second one. I'm going to assign year 1 to the existing class groups in their properties. And now let's just quickly create the class groups for year 2. Okay, and add some lessons. So 5 lessons of maths. Okay, so we've got 3 new class groups, and we're gonna create some options for them too, just as we've seen in the last installment of the tutorial. So the first one is going to be year 2 language, and we're going to select all of the year 2 class groups and give them options to study French, German, or Japanese. In the last tutorial I forgot to show you this tab in the option block. So this is basically a list of all the structures that Skolaris created behind the scenes in order to facilitate the creation of all those joint lessons for all those students from the class groups for the subjects. So you don't have to worry about this, but it's just here to give you an idea how the option blocks work internally. Let me create our lessons. So 3 lessons of French again with Pascal. 3 lessons of German. And 3 lessons of Japanese. Okay, let's add more lessons for year 1. Do that with another option block. Year 1 option. And we'll be adding lessons for either drama or computing or business. And these lessons are going to be different from what we've created so far because they're actually gonna be doubles, and it's just once a week. So business and computing. So the double is created just by putting in the duration in periods in the lesson creation dialog. Newton can teach computing. And drama, and that will be Tolkien. Right, all set. So let's update our timetable first. But because we've created a lot of new data, let's go through a check in the timetable wizard to see if we've put in everything correctly. And for that, I need to do the analysis. So far, so good. So our timetable is correct. And because I've finished the analysis, I got a thorough badge, also earned a level of experience. So maybe this is a good time to actually see our reward. I'm going to discard these changes to the new timetable. And when I look at my account, I can see I've earned a collection of badges so far, and I've actually reached level 3 of experience. And the reward for level 3 is a 7% discount from the annual subscription, so that is pretty good. Let's go back to the timetable that we've created originally and update with the newly created class groups and lessons just by pressing play. And we can see our timetable could not be updated. Its health is only 27%. So let's inspect the health and see what the problem is. We can see we have a lot of rooms that are double booked, and that will be because we only have 3 general rooms, but we now have 5 class groups that need to fit in there. So let's just discard these changes and create some new rooms. 201, 202, and 203. I've created more rooms than there are class groups because there are now a lot of options, so we're gonna need a higher capacity at one particular time to be able to split the class groups into groups. Let's try to update the timetable again. By the way, we're looking at timetables for rooms here. That's why they look so strange. I'm gonna switch back to class group view. And this is looking much better. By the way, if I close all the filters, I will see an overview of the whole school. Okay, the timetable still cannot be finished, but we're at 87% now. Let's see what the problem is. Pascal is double booked. Okay, poor Blaise Pascal. We've put in too much workload on Pascal. You could be wondering why this lesson cannot be moved, for example, to the 7th period here. But if you examine the class group timetables, you'll be able to see that there are not enough lessons to actually reach the 7th period. So all the lessons for the class groups have to be packed into the first 6 periods, and for Pascal that is simply not possible. So we're gonna examine the teacher timetables in order to see if someone's available to take some workload off Pascal. So it's not going to be possible For Tolkien also there's too much English. So let's save this and go back, and we need a new math teacher. And it's going to be Kurt Gödel. And we're going to take some lessons of Pascal, for example, for class group 1A. So I'm just going to change the teacher for each of them. And we could also see that Tolkien had too much English, so we're going to assign this drama lesson. We're going to take it off him and give it to someone else, to Murakami. Now that we've made these changes, let's see if our timetable can be finished. So the drama lesson is gone, and we've reached 100%, so our changes worked. Let's check the class group timetables, and they seem to be very good indeed. Let's see what the problem is with the fitness, why it's not 100%. Okay, it's now 99.9. So the only remaining problem is that science is in the last position twice for class group 2B. So let's just stop this and get to the point of today's tutorial, which is lesson placement. So if we look at timetable for maths, we'll see that a lot of it is happening very late in the day, and we don't want that. So we're gonna tell Skolaris that math cannot be the last subject. How do we do that? We go to the subject screen for maths, and we open the optimization settings, and we activate the lesson placement constraint, and we're gonna say that math should not be last, and just save this, go back to the timetable. We'll see a significant drop in the overall fitness. It's now only 96%. And how to fix it? Well, I'm sure you guessed. We just press play. So what's happening now is that Skolaris is trying to move maths so that it's not in the last position for any class group in the day. Let's start with 1A and check while it's working. So no maths here, no maths here. This is also fine. 2B, no maths. 2C, no maths. Perfect. 99%. I'm wondering what's wrong. So the subject sequence and last period subjects, these are very mild constraints. Basically, because we've restricted maths to not being last, some other subjects have to take its place, and it becomes harder to schedule different subjects to be last on each day. But we're gonna make it even more difficult for Skolaris, and we will say that in class group 2A, English has to be first, just to demonstrate that something like this is possible. So for that, we're gonna have to find the course for the class group 2A, the English course. So I'm going to open it. And here again, I go to optimization settings. And again, there's a lesson placement constraint here. I'm going to turn it on and say that English in 2A should be first. And I'm going to save this. Again, open the timetable. And we can see the fitness again being lower. If I open the fitness breakdown, I'll be able to see that our new constraint that English should be first is broken 4 times because English is only first on one day. So let's see if Skolaris will be able to deal with it. So this is a bit difficult because English is only taught by one teacher, which is Tolkien, and his schedule is completely full. So it's actually a matter of rearranging timetables for our class groups in order to accommodate our 2A English first requirement. That's why it's taking a bit of time. But all's well that ends well. So we can see that Skolaris actually managed to place all the English lessons for 2A to the first slot. So I'm gonna stop this now and show you the last thing I wanted to show today, which is directly influencing the placement of lessons within the week. Let's just quickly examine the fitness now. We already know the last period subject, and the subject sequence problem is caused by 2 lessons of a subject that is in a science category, which is math and science, being scheduled into adjacent slots. In other places in the timetable, Skolaris tries to interleave like language lessons and science lessons so that the kids don't have to focus on the same thing all the time, and it helps. So for class group 2C, we're gonna make sure that geography is only taught on Tuesday and Thursday. It's now on Monday and Wednesday, but for some reason we don't want that. So we're gonna have to find the course to see geography. And we're gonna add a spread definition. So we're gonna say that on Tuesday we'll want 1 lesson, and on Thursday we'll want another lesson. Also, by specifying the spread, we don't need the distribution here anymore. The distribution constraint is turned on by default for all courses, and it's that constraint that makes sure that all the courses are nicely spread out throughout the week by default. But if we want a more rigorous spread, like this kind of Tuesday and Thursday, as opposed to any non-adjacent days, we want to use the spread constraint, and I'm actually going to make this required and just turn off the distribution. And save this and go back to the timetable. And let's see if Skolaris can deal with this new constraint. Let's examine the health quickly. We'll see the spread constraints broken. This is because geography in 2C is on Monday and Wednesday as opposed to Tuesday and Thursday. And we'll fix this by pressing the play button again. So it's fixed immediately, and examining the fitness breakdown will show us only the constraints that we already know, the subject sequence problem and the last period subject. These are not very important. So let's recap. We've put all maths into the first 4 periods because we've specified it shouldn't be last. We also put all English lessons for class group 2A into the first period, which was the most difficult thing to do for Skolaris. And as the last, I showed you how to make lessons of a particular subject appear in particular days. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.